Successful 30-year titan in business with having multiple businesses that generate multiplied millions of dollars.
And if that plan happens to be to build $1 million company, which I can help you do.
But he's humble. He's a man of God. He's a family man.
The world's news organizations are built on everything but positivity.
He is an influential entrepreneur and business speaker for over 30 years.
I've got to forecast. I've got to pronounce. I've got to project. I've got to share with you my ideas, my vision, my goals for not only myself, but for you.
That's why he's came up with his incredible concept of taking and creating a platform for people that are wired differently.
And you got to understand that your habits of your person and your habits of your business and your habits of your spirituality have to lead to the North Star of who you are. We need to figure out who we want to be in life.
Who do I want to be in life? I don't know. I get up in the morning and I go through all this stuff. I start early. Then I get my game face on. I moisturize and I shave and I put on I don't know. This morning I probably put on 3 different shirts. That's a lie. 4 now that I landed on the black shirt. I just love the black shirt in the morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Tuesday, and I just got to bring you up to speed a little bit. Today is immediately when I get off of this podcast. I have to go upstairs and recalibrate everything and get ready to catch a plane because I'm heading back north to Angola, Indiana with my office up there. So I can't wait to see my peeps up there. Everybody, I'm warning you, fair shout out, I'm coming. I'm super excited about it. Always excited to travel. I travel a lot. I've accomplished a lot of things in my life, right? But one of the things I'm probably the most proud of, the green screen's back here. I'd go grab it. I got a plaque from Delta last year, and it was a 1,000,000-miler plaque. I have flown well over 1,000,000 miles with Delta, and I'm glad to say I have landed safely on every attempt. Now, let me tell you something. There's been a couple of flights that I can remember with Delta that were a little spooky. One flight I remember, I was going to the Masters in Augusta, and I was going there to see a friend and do the whole Masters thing and see Tiger Woods play and all this kind of stuff, and it was great. But that particular flight, we couldn't land because there was tornadoes, so we went down and up, like 3-4 different times we tried to land, and the plane went sideways. I never really had that happen where a big old jet literally went I've bounced up and down, but I went sideways. People were crying. We were going to die. We were running out of fuel. I don't know why I'm on this tangent this morning because I was thinking about Delta and I got to fly and I got to get ready. But listen, we ended up praying. Literally the lady next to me wanted me to pray with her. So I prayed with her and we landed. Delta, way to go. 1,000,000 miles. I don't know. That was probably mile 590,000. Who knows? I can remember another time I was flying on Delta. We do a lot of flying shows because lately flying has just been incredulous, almost impossible. But Delta does a good job to try and keep your smiles going. But anyways, I remember another time where we were on fire. We were literally flying, and I was trying to land in Nashville. I believe it was Nashville or Detroit, one of those 2 cities, because they're so close, right? I don't know, I'm a little giggly this morning. I want you to be giggly. I want you to have fun with me. I want you to understand, man, we're wired differently, and there's a reason for it. Anyways, we're flying, we're on fire, You can smell the smoke. We're like, don't worry, we're going to be fine. We're going to land. And so we go down to land, and you can see we're getting ready to land, and they got remember, if the mask come down, put it on your face, and if we're going to have a rough landing, we're going to put your hands on your legs and put your head down between your legs. And I'm like, is this really happening? You can smell the smoke building and the tension, the drama. And then as we get closer to the airport, we start to land. And I look down and there's fire vehicles, 1,000,000 firemen, every fire person in the planet showed up because they must have known I was on the plane. We landed safe. Life has options, doesn't have options. Life brings you places, drops you in places. just anyway, so that's my morning of flights. But I wanted to talk to you about the topic today because we're kind of tying this in. I always try to find a way to build you up personally. I want to build you up spiritually, and I want to build you up profitably. Choose your knife, Mr. Saylor, the waiter said to me. So I'm bringing you into the last week or so. I've had just this epic week with my wife. In the last 3 days, prior over the weekend, we had some time away. We went to the Ozarks and we spent some time. The whole idea of the Ozarks was I told everybody on the Facebook that I wasn't speaking, I wasn't teaching, but I was posting, which, you know, like I should have just kind of chilled a little bit on that. But I was so excited to be with my wife, and I want people to see that I can be regular and have fun, and I can chill and let down. And it's kind of an oxymoron because I was posting of the epicness of it. So we posted, I think, the first night or so, and then we just chilled the rest of it. I wanted to share a little bit of why I was there and what came of it. And I want you to grow from my episodes, my epic facades, or what do you call it? My epic excursions, with my wife, and things that we do. And so this particular trip, I've called it basically "Choose Your Knife," Todd, on this show, because the way that the way the day ended was kind of epic for me, right? I went out there to actually hang out with my wife and have a good time, but really to visit around an event that Nik Wallenda, my good friend Nik Wallenda, the greatest fear master to ever grace the planet in so many regards. I mean, this guy. I mean, Google Nik Wallenda. He's just a great, great guy. That story is something that I think I've told on this show before. I met him in 2014, and I just basically spoke at an event, and he was there, and we raised some money. And at the end of the event, I said, "Hey, Nik, can we be friends?" And he said, "Sure." And that's how simple it was. I said, "Hey, can we be friends? Can I call you my friend?" I did a whole story on that. Well, so since 2014, we have become friends, and then Nik invites me to travel the world with him to do these walks, Nicaragua, New York. I wasn't at Niagara Falls, but I've been to Tampa, the Hard Rock. I've been to Michigan. What's the name of that casino we walked across? Firekeepers. I've done that one. We've done probably 7 walks with Nik, and all in all, and he was at the Tiki Hut, and he graced us with an amazing keynote speech. But I like to go visit him. It's a way to get away. And so we went to Brandon. What he was doing in Branson, Missouri, in the Ozark, is he's performing, and he's a beautiful performer, and he does this show. He does 3 shows a day, a hardworking dude, 6 days a week, 3 shows a day. He lives in a beautiful motor home behind the set at Branson, Missouri, at the Silver Dollar City. And so yesterday I built everybody up with the Silver Dollar City, and we talked about, I found this cave by accident, and I was inspired while we were doing this trip, my wife and I, by the caves and that message yesterday. But I really wanted to kind of take you full circle with this trip and how I went out there, and how important it is to be with friends, how important it is to make friends, and how important it is to share with friends. And so this episode I titled "Choose Your Knife, Mr. Saylor," because that's how this weekend ended. At the very end of the 3-day weekend, my wife and I took Nik, met Nik and Wendy. He ended up paying for dinner, but we set up the meeting, and we went to this beautiful steakhouse. Nik and I like to have steak. We like a ribeye. He likes his medium rare. I like mine medium rare. And we've had amazing ribeyes. We've had tomahawk ribeyes. We've had the big ribeyes with the small ribeyes. We're just kind of like ribeye connoisseurs. We're just those carnivores, right? And so that was kind of the thing that we do. And the ladies will eat meat too, especially Tracy now, since we're on this diet. And so at the end of the whole trip, we go to the event and we go to this dinner, and we want to have our steak. But I wanted to kind of take you up to that epic moment of having dinner with Nik, and kind of take you through what we did and what happened, and just show you some fun stuff that went on. And so I want to just kind of show you some images here real quick that I put together of the event that was so much fun. This is an image of Nik, and he's called it the Circus. His family history is epic and well known. And this is before the show, and we were getting ready, and it was just so much fun. We had VIP tickets, and they treat us so well. They greet us at the front gate, and they say, "Mr. Saylor, I remember you from, years in the past, you're wired differently, sit down here. It's just a great feeling of how Nik really puts together a great event, and people come from all over the country to see him over and over and over, and how he treats people, especially the way he treated us. So thank you, Nik, for that. Here is a image of Nik up on the high wire. He literally, during the show, creates such an atmosphere where he is up on the wire above people, walking and talking. And the interesting thing about Nik is he's done so many epic things that how do you top those? And when the lights come on and he's standing above you, it's really a sight to behold, because you're not expecting him up there, and you look up and there he is, the king of the high wire, literally walking on top of people and crowd. It's just really cool. And then he tells us a little story, and I'll take you to that a little bit. And here's an image of after the show. My wife and I got a chance to visit with him for, I don't know, we spent probably about 40 minutes after the show on the stage and having a good time. Now, I'm going to go back to some things. The dinner that night, we're going to close this message with the dinner, choose your knife, Mr. Saylor. But I wanted to actually talk to you a little bit about and show you just kind of some of the fun stuff that happened at Nik's, and just kind of let you into our life a little bit and just have fun with us, because Tracy and I are having a lot of fun. This Wire Differently world that we're on, this positive lifestyle, this idea of literally letting God run with your life, letting God actually help you, just like give you options and move through life and wait for God and watch for God and be patient for God and do these things, but yet take action in your life, right? God is so amazing. And I just wanted to just digress a little bit there and explain to you the purpose of the show. And so here's one of the cool things I wanted to show you. Here's literally after the show, one of the events that Nik hosted was a young lady, and I can't remember her name, but she was an amazing young lady, and she was one of the finalists. Actually, she was second on America's Got Talent, and she did a dog show. Some of you may recognize her if you watch America's Got Talent, and you'll see her on this video. And after the end of the show, my wife and I went up to see Nik and Wendy, and it was just so great. And all of a sudden we could hear the dogs bark, 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 bark in the park. I'm like, oh my gosh, those are the dogs. And like, Nik's probably one of the most outstanding entertainers ever to walk the wire or walk the planet. But when we got on the stage, all we could think about was these dogs. This young lady had like amazing dogs, and they were doing these tricks, and just kind of watch what happens here.
He's as tall as you, honey.
I don't know. It just makes me feel good. Yeah. Oh, it just makes me, I don't know. It just makes me feel good. I wanted to share some of this with you. And then all the other dogs were jealous. And the one in particularly is, might have been somebody's favorite. I think it was the entertainer's favorite, but it was. Just fun stuff. And so when I take you through these videos, I just kind of want to give you a life and a breath and kind of what we saw. So the show, and when Nik came on stage, was just amazing. He walked out there, he walked on top of us, he looked at us, he shared his life and his wife and his story, and it was just amazing.
Early on in my life, growing up in the circus world, I remember hearing my parents and their struggles with finances. A lot of people that are working every day miserable, to be honest with you, because they've given up on their dreams. They've settled for status quo. I'm here to encourage you guys to get back up on your dreams, no matter how crazy they are. I think at the time that I decided I wanted to get permission to become the first person in the world to walk wire directly across the precipice of Niagara Falls. See,
Here we go. This
This
is
my dream. Being told that it was impossible, that I was crazy. But every time I was discouraged,
You're not crazy, Nick.
on my side,
Don't give up on your dreams, brother. We love you.
pursuing that dream.
Look at this dude.
And that person is my beautiful wife. And she's going to join me on the wire right now. So without further ado, please give my wife a big round of applause.
There she is. I'm sharing this with you because I love these moments. I love you guys. I want you to understand that this is, you know, there's so much out there. Check this out here. This one here. Oops, sorry about that. Boom, boom. I love the music. I love the entrance. The love story, man. The epicness of just like the build, and see those are sway poles right there behind them, and they came out on the show and they were on sway poles together, right? Swaying together. Now they're walking together on the wire. It's just fun, right? What's wrong? What is it about life that sometimes gets so complicated and then we make it so hard, you know?
The Bible tells us that if you find a good wife, you found favor with God. Well, I must be highly favored because I've found a great wife that's willing to walk the wire with me. My wife shares the same passions that I do. Her mom's side, they own the third oldest circus in Australia. On her father's side, they hail from Mexico. And they're known for becoming the first to ever complete the quadruple somersault on the flying trapeze. Early on in our careers, my wife had a lot of her dreams.
I just love it, you guys. I love the fact that we can do life and we can share things, and I wanted to be able to share these moments with you, but I wanted to actually explain something to you. That Nik and Wendy work very hard. Nik and Wendy travel all over the country, and they have a lot of friends. They have some friends, maybe they have no friends, you know, maybe the times are tough, maybe they're not so tough, but everybody has their moment in life. Everybody has their dream. Everybody should have inspirations. And we talked a little bit about yesterday how I feel like certain people on the Facebook and the Instagram and this world that we live in is just so, I think, not real. Like it's like hyped up. It's just this thing. And I know it's our job to be who we are. I know it's our job to actually exploit the things that we're doing, but I want my show, I want my message, I want my time with you to always be something real. I want to be able to share my life with you. I want to be able to share my journey with you. I want to be able to share my celebrity with you. I want to be able to share my celebrity friends with you. I want to be able to share my regular friends. You've seen many people on the show. And so I just wanted to bring all of this to you today. And I wanted to basically culminate it with when we're all done with everything, we're all done with the trip. My wife and I, we get there, we stay at a nice hotel, we have fun, we shoot the guns, we go to dinner, we do the zip line, we go hang out with Nik, and we see the show, and we do the special star treatment. And then at the end of the day, we have dinner together. Right? We literally sit down and we have dinner together. And all of this culminates. And, you know, I get a little wonky sometimes when I'm trying to figure out, like, what does certain things mean? And my mind is always spinning, right? What does certain things mean? And it just was ironic to me that when we finally get to dinner and we sit down for our last meal before we take off, we get and we order our ribeye. We come through and we order our ribeye, this very nice dining place. And one of the things that I remember the most out of the entire trip, and it resonates with me because I had such a good time with Nik. I had such a good time with my wife. I had such a good time. I'm sharing good times with you. I want you to be positive. I want you to feel good when you watch the videos. I want you to feel good when you watch me. I want you to feel good about yourself because life is great, man. Life is amazing. Life is for your taking, man. Life is your choice. We have options for life. We have two main options. We can be positive or we can be negative. We can go on trips or we can not go on trips. We can take short trips. We can escape. We can not escape. We can stay in our own doldrums, or we can step out and say, I choose to believe. I choose to be happy. I choose positive mental attitude. I choose these moments. I chose to feel good about the entire trip. I chose to show you something today that would make you feel good. The images and the positivities of the cute dogs and the animals and people smiling and having fun and living their lives. But as we sit down for dinner, I'm just literally going to kind of take you to the end of this message today. We sit down, we're having a great conversation. And one of the things that I can only remember the most about this trip, out of all the good things I've shared with you over the last 2 days, and I can't get it off my mind, and I just feel like God has delivered it to me. I feel like God has sent this to me, and it's just resonating and resonating and resonating. He says, and I say to myself, God, why this topic? Why did you make me put this topic? I literally, sometimes I wonder, and I get on the show and it just writes itself, and God will deliver things to me, and he'll just have me pause, and then the words will come out. And it's just a crazy thing about life, and how if you choose to follow God, how he will deliver for you. You know, and as we sat down for dinner, we're ramping things up when we're getting ready to close. We order the meal, and the meal finally comes out after an hour of us having fun and conversation. And I think Nik had ice water, and I had an iced tea, and my wife had a iced tea and a water. And we kind of went through all the pleasantries. We decided that we didn't want appetizers, and we went right straight to the meal. He ordered a ribeye medium rare. I ordered a ribeye medium rare. I think Tracy did the same thing. And I'm not exactly sure what Wendy got. And we got mushrooms, and then we've got some. Nik likes he likes the spinach, cream of spinach, and we've got what else did we order? We ordered some Brussels sprouts. Those were good too. So anyways, we get there and the meal finally comes, but before the meal comes, I just can't explain to you how this kind of stumped me such. A man walked up to me, my server, and if I looked real close, I could remember his name. But he looked at me very calmly, and he came to me and he said, Mr. Saylor, and he had this box, a brown box, and he was this waiter we had was not animated. He wasn't anything like, he wasn't like a circus performer or anything. He wasn't animated. He wasn't supercharged. He was very somber, very, very measured, very professional. And you can see this restaurant, it was very dark, and it was an elegant restaurant, and a very high-end restaurant. And the food turned out to be, the food was good. It wasn't great. The food isn't what I'm remembering the most about this experience. It's not what I'm remembering most about the evening. It's not what I'm remembering most about the night. It's not the food at all. It's about my friend Nik, and it's about this man who was about to serve me, who I thought he was going to serve me my food, but he walks out with a brown box. And in the brown box, I'm thinking, why is this man bringing me cigars in the middle of this meal? And he walked up to me very casually, very slow, and he looked at me very measured, and he opened up the box ever so slow, right? And he looked at me with the most serious eyes I've ever seen in a waiter. And he said, Mr. Saylor, choose your knife. What? And he opened up a box, and there they were. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 knives. Beautiful knives. And I'm not a knife. You know, I don't know a good knife from a bad knife, but I know a steak knife when I see it. And I can tell if there's some serious artwork behind these knives. I can tell if this is a serious thing. This box had 10 beautiful knives in it. Mr. Saylor, choose your knife. And I literally froze for a moment, because I was like, I've been to a lot of places to eat, a lot of fine food. I've been to a lot of places. I've spent a lot of money on food. I've spent a lot of money on other people, taking them to dinner and doing things with food and trying to have an experience of something that I would remember and they would remember me for. But never in my life have I ever been to a place where we sat down, and before the food is actually served, a man or a server walks over to me and opens up a black box and says, "Choose your knife." Now, many of you probably have, I don't know, maybe I'm the only guy on the planet that's a little shocked by the fact that I had a man offer me to choose my knife. Why is that so shocking to you? Why is it so shocking to me? I don't know. I just kind of, my mind froze, and I'm like, am I back in the early years when we were choosing weapons to fight for our wives, our lives, and the thing kept my mind kept going, choose your wife, choose your wife. I remember Nick saying, I chose my wife well, and then this guy rolls up and he says, "Mr. Saylor, choose your knife." And I'm like, I've chose my wife, and now we're like, I felt like I was like in the early centuries, and I'm like, we're gonna duel. We're gonna, like, you choose your knife, you choose a knife, and we're gonna, winner takes the meal. I don't know. It was just a weird feeling, but I got to tell you, it will never leave me. We just had a good time. Choose your knife, Mr. Saylor. And then Nick chose his knife. And so then we posed for the knife fight picture. And like, we didn't fight. Don't worry, anybody. There was not a knife fight. It was just the two bald guys in the restaurant. And he picked a really cool handle. And I think I picked like a pearl-like handle. And he picked a really deep red handle. But choose your knife. And so what I kind of want to leave you this morning is choose your knife. Choose your knife. I want you to think about this in your life, in your world, and where we're at. We've got this amazing world. We've got this amazing life. We got this amazing time. And I want you to learn how to choose your knife. I want you to choose things in your life. Your knife, your life. They rhyme. I want you to really build on that for you today. I want you to think about, I spent 25 minutes building up to this one line, choose your knife. And I think that sometimes we just forget that we have choices. We have choices to how we're going to eat our steak. We have choices how we're going to live our life. We have choices of who we're going to be with. We have choices of how we're going to raise our family. We have choices of how we're going to serve our Lord. We have choices. Choose, 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 choose. Do not choose. I mean, it hit me when the knives rolled up that I was to choose a knife. I never thought for a moment, like, no, take the knives back. It wasn't a thought. It wasn't a piece. It wasn't a part of my mindset. It wasn't anything that I was thinking about at all. It wasn't like, no, I don't want a sharp, beautiful knife to eat this beautiful steak with that you've created for me. No, take the knives back. What? You're giving me a choice? I don't want choices. Why does it go so fast? Choose your knife, Mr. Saylor. I want you to choose your life, Mr. Saylor. I want you to choose what you're going to be, Mr. Saylor. I want you to be willing to choose who you are. I want you to be able to change who you are to become who you want to be. I want you to choose your knife. I want you to make a choice in life. I want you to know that there's options out there. And I think when we forget so many times that we do have choices. Now, I know some of us have fewer choices than others, but it doesn't preclude you from not having choices. God loved you so much that he gave you a choice to follow him or not. I mean, he literally loved you so much that he built your brain and your mind and your body in his own image. And then he said, choose me. I love you that much that I've given you all this, that now that I'm giving you the choice of free will and I'm giving you the choice to love me or to not love me. But regardless of whether you choose me or not, I've given you the ability to live in this world, to survive, and in many cases, more than survive. God loved you so much that he gave you a choice. Choose your knife. The story isn't about an epic war tool. The story isn't about just an epic weekend with my wife and Nik and Wendy Wallenda. This story is mostly about the choice of the knife, the idea that we have a choice. Choose your knife, Mr. Saylor. Choose your path, Mr. Saylor. Choose your Lord, Mr. Saylor. Make a choice. Come on, do this thing with me. Let's do this thing called life, wired differently. Let's make our choice today. Let's choose to be positive. Let's choose our knife. Let's choose our weapon of this world. And let's use that weapon. Let's use that tool to free us and free others. God is our source. God is our choice. He is, in essence, our weapon to deal in the battles of this earth that we live in. I chose God. I want you to choose God. I want you to be that person. I love you. I love you. I love you. Another great show, another great message. Get to ToddSaylor.com. Have a great day.